Yes, I know, a very common complaint with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Number one, of course, where is the Slow-Fi button? Why can't that be designated, especially on the front of the phone, covering up the display? But besides that, the battery life is too terrible. We're all playing so many games on our phones these days. Battery life on the 11 Pro Max is atrocious. I don't care that it beat out all the other Android phones. I don't care that it's 5 hours better than last year. Last year I had a negative battery life, okay? So the battery life on the Pro Max is only 1 hour, so thankfully Apple has finally improved that with the Pro Max battery case and a dedicated camera button. No, it does not instantly activate slow-fis. I've searched all the settings, but regardless, jokes aside, I'm going to talk to you about my few days using it. It's been almost a week, not quite, almost a week using it. I have very little concept of time, so let's begin. So in regards to build material, I tried out the tennis match iPhone battery case back at the beginning of the year, and the black option was fine, but I've actually found myself liking the white color a little bit more. I notice less of the oil smudges because I am constantly leaking oil. The US military's getting on my back, but it shows up all over these silicone cases, and it doesn't show up as much on the white case. So I like the build quality of it, and since I know most of you aren't going to watch this entire video, I'll just address the actual battery improvements, which if you're leaving soon, the long short of it is the iPhone 11 Pro Max with mild use can last you 2 days on a single charge. The battery case ups it to 3 days. So I had the battery case at 100% and my phone at a 100% charge on Saturday at 11:51 a.m. and my phone battery did not go completely to zero until about 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday. So it was actually a little bit over 3 days, and that was with me averaging around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time each day. This will obviously depend on what you're doing. So if you're just browsing through Twitter, liking all of my tweets, trying to get my attention, that's probably not going to use as much battery as those of you trying to finally score your first victory royale on Fortnite Mobile. You'll get there one day, you know, they just got to keep adding more bots, but you'll get there. But of course, gaming or high-intensive things like video recording are going to drain the battery much faster. So if you're using it with mild use, that's when you can expect a 3-day battery life with this combo. How many people need to go that far without charging their phone? I don't know. Maybe you're homeless. Maybe you don't have a home, but you get to go into a Starbucks and access their charge plug and charge up your battery case and Pro Max, but then you can go back on the streets and have a powered phone for the next 3 days, but you probably shouldn't be spending $130 on battery case. I would recommend buying a cheap car that you could live inside of or something like that. But of course, if you are going to be living inside your car, the best thing you could do with that car is take pictures of it and flex it on other people on Instagram. So luckily, they've added the camera button on this year's battery case, which was kind of weird. At first, when I saw they announced that there was a dedicated camera button, I was like, no, I'm not really a fan of camera buttons. I like having a more clean, minimal design, as little buttons as possible, so I was not on board with the idea of a dedicated camera button. Why they decided to add it this year, I don't know. But actually, once I started using it, I found myself liking it a lot more than I thought I would, because this button is indented. It's not sticking out and protruding from the case like the other buttons are. The volume rocker and the power, they stick out so that you can reach in your pocket and kind of feel them and then click on them. While the dedicated camera button does physically click, it's not haptic feedback, it's actual switch mechanism. Since it's indented, it's very unobtrusive. You know, you don't really notice it's there. You notice a little bit of a groove when you're holding the phone, but it doesn't add an uncomfortable protrusion to the case that doesn't need to be there. I think that if you want the dedicated camera button, it's actually placed very ergonomic. See, when you are in the camera app and you want to take pictures of the car you're living inside of, you've got the volume rocker that you can click to take photos if you need to. But let's say for whatever reason, you want to switch up your schedule, you want to switch up the swing of the daily routine, so you decide to hold your phone the other way. The dedicated camera button also acts as a shutter, and it's kind of exactly where the volume rockers would be if you were holding it this way. So, I don't know, maybe some of you boomers remember taking pictures with old dedicated cameras and we're kind of used to the photo button being right on the side there. It kind of makes sense that they put it there as well, because you don't naturally want to press the bottom volume when you're holding your phone this way to take a photo. So it makes sense that they keep it up there for the people who are used to having the photo button there. So good placement of the camera button. And also, if you want to activate the camera very, very quickly. Let's say there's some pigeons flying by the car you're living outside of and you want to take photos of them very quickly. Even if the screen is all the way off, it just takes a very quick hold for it to activate, and boom, you're ready to start taking photos. Oh my god, I look horrible. You guys watch my videos and look at my face all the time. I am so sorry. But yeah, in case you were curious, it does not activate right away, so if your screen is off and you just happen to click the dedicated camera button real briefly, it won't immediately open. You have to be a little bit patient before death. I mean, every heartbeat is another one closer to your last. So this one's going to waste about half a heartbeat every time you activate it. It's like, oh, you gotta wait. But perhaps it's saving part of your life, because there's a good chance if it activated immediately when you pressed it, a lot of people could have activated the camera in their pocket when they didn't mean to a lot. So I think it was smart for Apple to make sure that it only activates when you hold it down for a second. And that pretty much sums it up. I think Apple was accurate in saying the battery case adds another 50% charge. Like for me, I can go 2 days with my Pro Max on a single charge. This upped it to 3. So that means if your daily use, if you are a power user, and, you know, you're exporting Toy Story 4 on your iPhone every day, and maybe your Pro Max only lasts you 1 day because of how much power you use out of it, whatever your screen time is, divide it by 2 and then add that to your current screen time. It should add about that much. So if you're out of power, which happens here a lot, by the way, maybe the Pro Max battery is helpful, especially if when your Wi-Fi goes out, your phone becomes your personal hotspot. That can drain your battery really quickly, so having a battery case is helpful for that. And it does preserve battery health pretty well, because once your phone is charged up to 100%, the phone is then powered by the battery in the battery case. It's not just constantly charging your phone at 100%, therefore degrading the battery of the case and not the internal one on your actual phone. So battery health should be preserved. Dedicated camera button is nifty. I won't say it's like a must-have. I'm not like dying for it to be on the next gen iPhone. I'm totally fine without having a dedicated camera button, but since you're spending $130 on a case, which is steep, then yeah, probably adding a little bit of extra functionality helps sweeten the deal just a tad. Would I recommend this to a lot of people? Probably not, only if the Pro Max somehow is not satisfying your battery needs. This is a very chunk case. This is very large. It's very awkward to put in my pocket. I much rather prefer the feel of my phone without a case, so I'm not going to be keeping this one. I'm not going to hang on to it. I'm just going to send it back. But it was fun to test it, and I can't wait to do the same pointless video next year. Anywho, thank you all for watching. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I should have gotten pink sand. This is one of the biggest regrets of my life. See you in the next one.